Welcome to the special edition of MSP Dispatch, your source for community events, news in the MSP channel. In this special edition, we're going to be talking about the recent rebranding of Nable standalone backup product to Cove. We talked about it originally on a previous issue of MSP Dispatch. To discuss some of the details of the recent rebranding, I'm joined by the VP of Product Management at Nable, Stefan Vos. Stefan, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Ray. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. And you're joining us from Germany today, you said, right?
That's correct. Yep.
So even nicer, we have international recording. I love this. So sure. I want to get right into it. I did reach out to many of the people that were voicing concerns and questions on the various community channels, such as Facebook and the Reddit groups and the Slacks and the Discords. And that's where these questions came from. And like anything, the rebranding brings a lot of questions, and people start to wonder what it means. So hopefully we can dial that in and get those answers they were looking for. The first question we have is the Cove product itself, which is the recently rebranded Nable standalone backup. Is that a Nable owned product, or are you rebranding somebody else's product?
Yeah, it's a fabulous question. Absolutely. It is 100% Nable owned, right? It's the product that y'all know and love. There's no spin-off, spin-in, sale, OEM, merger going on. It's operationally same product, but it is a product rename, right, that we're talking about.
Okay, easy enough. And speaking of the renaming, the rebranding, it's already known and it already has the confidence of the Nable users. And fair disclosure, we also use the standalone backup, although this is not a sponsored anything. Just want to be clear about that. What was the reason for the rebranding? If you guys already had the confidence in the Nable name, why did you choose to go out with a new name?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the timing is right. We have some industry sort of tailwinds, maybe headwinds as well, skills shortage. We have customers going to the cloud. We have ransomware attacks that just will never cease. And, I think we really have a very nice architecture that lends itself to take advantage on some of these tailwinds, right? So we call it cloud first or direct to cloud, right? So other different names are used. And that is really just to showcase that innovation, to put it top of mind. Clearly existing customers know this, they're using the product, but there are a lot of buyers out there that seem to be looking for some alternatives, and it just seemed like the right timing to put us on the radar. That's really the logic behind it.
That makes sense. So with the rebranding, I understand the rebranding notices that went out were a little bit premature. Can you speak to when they were originally intended for? How premature were they?
Yeah, not very premature, but premature enough to maybe make it a bit annoying, and nobody likes surprises, right? But
right.
Clearly we're shooting for that May 2nd sort of public announcement, if you want to look at it that way. What we do is we release monthly. It happens on a Saturday, and we do this for a reason. It's really to minimize disruption. And so if you think about it in that context, there is, of course, a time delay that will cause some surprises and maybe some raised eyebrows, especially if you don't know what's going on for some partners. So do apologize for that inconvenience. Luckily, there was no operational disruption associated. We're not switching backup products. We're not talking about a security issue or something that has a bigger magnitude, but nonetheless. So that was the timing, but that is the rationale why it was lit up in the product, because that's when we do our releases. We didn't want to wait a month.
Yeah, and I think that touches a very important point. It was simply rebranding, right? Title changes, logo changes, but functionality-wise, it was exactly the same. It didn't impact. There was no downtime. It was just rebranding. So while a little premature, a little early on the announcement, it didn't really impact the MSPs from a functionality perspective.
Yeah, that's correct. We're not migrating data. We don't have to kind of move to a different user experience altogether. It may look different. There's a different logo stuck in there, but that is the extent of it. That's absolutely right. Now we are releasing some cool features, but I think you're gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to communications of these changes, whether premature or on track, or as scheduled, um, getting those communications out to your partners, to your users, is of utmost importance. I know there was a pop up in the application that gave a an unlisted YouTube link video. I know there was an email that went out. Were there any other communication methods? How did you inform the user base of these changes?
Yeah, that's fair. So there, of course, there's the official press release, there's websites, there's a lot of there's product documentation, and then proactive communications, in addition to the ones you mentioned, would also be sort of internal enablement, or a pun intended, sessions where we kind of go over what we're doing, why we're doing it, as well as sort of an overview for select partners like distributors and so forth. But it's kind of difficult to catch everyone in the process. But that's the approach. So it's a multifaceted communication strategy that we did use, just to get the word out.
Yeah, and it seems reasonably comprehensive. I mean, it's what you would expect for any initiative from any brand. So this is part of the feedback I got from partners specifically in Reddit and the Facebook groups. There were concerns on, the purpose of the rebranding. Some can see it, well, not a major effort. I mean, communications marketing, right? There's a lot of work that's involved there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the developers doing the rebranding, but it does have a certain amount of effort that goes into it. Part of the concerns were some saw it as a waste of time. So I'd like to hear your opinions on that. Why the efforts were taken? How does it detract away from the development of the product, if at all? Why efforts were made to get this done?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you characterized it very well. Like, most of the work is really clearly on sort of the marketing end, when you look at the website and so forth, right? I think the team's done really an awesome job. But I get it, right? Why focus on that, and why not build cool features? What's going on? And the answer to that is we are building cool features, and we will continue to build cool features. And actually, the work associated with sticking the logo in the UI, right, is very minimal. Right, so the disruption to the engineering teams was actually very minimal. So back to sort of like, why did we rebrand? Right, so we see these tailwinds. We have a cloud first data protection architecture. Oftentimes some of the challenges that go along with that architecture is, how do you provide disaster recovery capabilities that are more enterprise class? And one of those examples is, as part of this release, we are exiting the external preview of a standby image capability. So that's a big improvement, and it's just sort of a first step along a journey across enterprise class disaster recovery capabilities that will give you a lot of restore flexibility, put it on different targets as an example, and also shorten your recovery times, right? So that's an innovation certainly worth highlighting. And again, it's also very relevant if you think about the types of disasters we're looking at, right? So in the grand scheme of things, minor effort for a rebrand, logo on a UI, major effort in these other areas across the product, including bugs, user enhancements, but also sort of this DRAS bucket or continuity bucket, standby image, continue. Right.
Sounds good. Well, Stefan, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This clarity is definitely appreciated. I can tell you from the MSP side of things, when any vendor is willing to come on and not only take accountability for any minor oops that happen, but also give insight into why and what was done. It's appreciated. It's greatly appreciated. I'm sure the audience will as well. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Really a pleasure being here, and glad it worked out. Anytime.
Awesome. Well, that's all for today's special edition of MSP Dispatch. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and put it in the comments below, and we'll be sure to address them in future episodes. But until next time, take care of each other and yourselves.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.